those that haven't come by my booth, my name is Lori Strauss. I am the Adobe Channel Account Manager for CCB. And I've been with Adobe going on my 10th year and have seen the company really go through a huge transformation as the world has gone into this big digital world. So when I started at Adobe, I remember like a month before I started, we had actually acquired Macromedia. For those of you that remember Macromedia, this was in '06. And we sort of changed the way that we targeted our products towards designers, because we realized that all designers weren't the same. And so we came up with a concept that we'd have like a web suite, a design suite, a video suite, and then a master collection, which included all things. How to work this? Thanks. So anyway, we realized that certain designers needed certain tools, and so we made those available through our Creative Suite. And it was like the biggest thing ever to happen to Adobe, and that was in '06. And our traditional cycle for Adobe has been every 18 to 24 months, we would release a new version of creative products. And so at the time, that worked, because we weren't in '06 in this really mobile digital world. Devices weren't coming into the market at the rapid pace that they are today. And so maybe 3 years ago, Adobe decided to go all in with what we call Creative Cloud for Teams. Has anyone in the room heard of it, and or is anyone using Creative Cloud for Teams? Okay, so I'm just going to explain a little bit about Creative Cloud for Teams, because it's I say next generation of software, but now we're 3 years into the product. So I want to talk about why it's important for you guys to sort of shift your business or your design tools towards Creative Cloud for Teams. So Creative Cloud for Teams is a membership to Adobe's products, and basically it's a 12-month membership. It's basically an upfront cost. So whether you have a version of Adobe Creative Suite or you're brand new to the brand, it's a 12-month membership that you would buy through CCB. Included with your membership is not only all of our tools. So for those familiar with Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, we have like 15 tools that are included with the Creative Cloud for Teams. But it also includes membership to a community. So when you become a member, you can have access to what we call Behance, which is sort of like a Facebook for designers. So where designers want to display their work, they become or sign into Behance, and that gives them the ability to get creative inspiration from other creative professionals and or display their own creative work. And it also gives them access to some publishing tools and inspiration, meaning that as we come up with new technology, be it our own technology or let's say hardware is changing and we need to be able to deliver tools for new devices like a new iPhone or a new iPad or some other type of tablet, users can go up to the cloud and get the latest and greatest tools, so that you're always on time, always online, and you can work from anywhere basically. So when you become a member to Creative Cloud for Teams, someone within your organization would become the admin and have access to a console. And through that console, they're able to deploy seats within your organization. And I want to say that it's named user, so each person would have to have an email address. And then let's say you had a marketing department that had 5 people, you would buy 5 seats for those 5 folks. They would, all of them would have access to all the greatest tools. And if one of those people were to leave the company, that seat can actually be reassigned to a different user. So we make it really flexible. The great part about that console also is just compliance. I mean, is anyone here like IT or an IT admin or have to sort of keep track of your software? So it's very challenging, as you know. It's very, very easy to over-deploy, which would mean that you're out of compliance, and there's usually costs associated with over-deployment. But also, if you're spending the money, you also don't want to under-deploy, right? So you want to know kind of who's using the software and as you make purchasing decisions, to know which departments are really using it so that you can decide if you're going to upgrade. But with the console, you actually, and I apologize, it's so dark, I guess the lights are on, but you have access to see who's using the software. And if you had a user within the 12 months that wasn't necessarily getting the bang for the buck out of that software, you can actually reassign that very easily as the admin to another user. So we can make it very flexible. Another benefit of subscription model is predictability of cost. So while folks are a little bit resistant sometimes to go towards a membership model because you're paying every year, it does give you predictable budgeting. And so we never really announce when our next releases are. And so, you might have upgraded and then all of a sudden, boom, we announce Creative Suite 5 or 6. And then it's like, oh, I have to upgrade, I didn't plan for that. With Creative Cloud for Teams or a membership model in general, it makes budgeting very predictable. So, anyone in your organization that is in marketing, creative, it's certain departments that use Creative Cloud for Teams. And this is also available through different market segments. So it's commercial, government, and education. I guess there's probably a fine mix in here between those market segments, but there's offerings within each of the market segments. Creative Cloud for Teams is also available as a package, which means complete, which has all the apps. And you can choose to use the apps that best suit your business. So let's say your web designer was using Dreamweaver and Flash and a couple other things, but maybe they didn't have a need for Lightroom. They don't have to use Lightroom. It's made available always. It's always available through the cloud, but they don't all have to be used. I also want to mention that Creative Cloud for Teams is actually, you get it in the cloud, but it runs locally on your desktops. So that's something that is a little confusing to people because they hear cloud. It's not cloud-based in terms of it's where you get the information, the tools, and the services from the cloud, but it literally runs on your desktop. And you can have 2 users per, well, not 2 users, but 2 instances of download per user. So in other words, you could have it on your work computer and your home computer, or 2 different computers as one named user. So Creative Cloud for Teams gives you the tools and services anytime and anywhere. It makes it very flexible in this kind of changing world. We also have all the collaborative tools are available as single app as well. So if you had someone who, let's say, only did photography and only had a need for Photoshop, you can just buy a single app of Photoshop. And but if you essentially have a need for more than 2 products, it's much more cost effective to buy the complete version. It's a 12-month membership, as I mentioned. It's renewed annually. Through the console, as the admin, we will give notification of the time of your renewal. So you can renew 30 days before, up to 30 days after, up to the 30th day after your renewal date. We make it really easy through the 12-month term to add more users. So while it's very easy to reassign seats to other users in your department, should you have the need to add more users within the term of the year, we prorate it. So let's say you had a 12-month membership, but 5 months into the term, you wanted to add someone in your marketing department and give them a seat, you would buy 7 months worth of term, and that renews on the same date the next year. So there's always an annual renewal date for all of your seats. And again, we give adequate notification, as would CCB. They would tell you exactly when to renew those seats. I'm going to stop and ask if there's any questions so far. Okay, and tell me again, by show of hands, who's using Creative Cloud for Teams now? You are, okay. A couple people, okay, great. So, we sort of have Creative Cloud for Teams, and Acrobat has always been included sort of as a way to, like if you're working with certain apps, to be able to secure those files you're working on. And so I would say most people don't buy Creative Cloud for Teams for Acrobat. They buy it for the creative tools, and we include Acrobat. But in the middle of March, we made a public announcement when we did our earnings call for Adobe, because we're a public company, that we were coming out with a new version of Acrobat. And we kind of gave guidance that there would be an April release. So in the middle of March, we said, hey, there's going to be a new version coming, but it will be released in April. But what we talked about with Acrobat was mobility. And so where a lot of times people refresh Acrobat when they have a desktop refresh, this is the release of Acrobat. It's a groundbreaking release. We just released it on April 7th. And so essentially, we've been in a document business, a digital document business, for 25 years, and we've always been a leader in digital documents. So we've always been behind PDF. And as you guys know, there's other clones out there that sell PDF. But there's been a disconnect with documents. So people send PDF, but if you want to sign it, you have to print out the PDF, sign it, scan it, email it. That person gets it, signs it, scans it, email. I mean, it's like coming from all directions. Although, we've always been green, and we're all about PDF, not paper. We like, definitely to keep everything in digital documents. But, when you try to fill the gaps, business suffers. It's more time, it's ink, it's just a lot of cost to business. So when we talked about Acrobat in March, we sort of gave, prelim saying it's going to be all about mobile. And when I say it's all about mobile, truly this release is groundbreaking. It is about mobile. With the new Acrobat DC, and it's called Document Cloud. So again, it's run locally. You get the features and the apps and the services through the cloud, but it's run locally. It gives you the ability to what we call do like PDF recycling, meaning take a PDF, export it into Excel, export it into PowerPoint, make it really easy to make edits and import back into PDF. So no more need to use paper. We also have a really intuitive user interface. And the important thing with Acrobat DC is the ability to view, run, send documents digitally on your handheld devices. We call Acrobat users knowledge workers, so we're all knowledge workers. I happen to be a very remote, mobile knowledge worker. I live in Florida, actually. I'm here in Wisconsin. I come up to Wisconsin often, it seems. And a lot of times I'm running around working, on my laptop or my tablet or my phone. And I don't have access to a printer. I don't have access to a scanner. And in my role, I have to send out legal documents a lot for signature. And so I never really had a way to kind of move documents around digitally without having to have access to, run to a FedEx Kinko's and print something out and scan it. And so with Acrobat DC, which is just released April 7th, there's a send feature, sign and send feature where, and I'll give you a real life example. I was just in Peru 2 weeks ago on vacation. I climbed Machu Picchu. And I brought my work phone with me, and I had to do some contracts. And so I got a contract. I signed it. I sent it. It moved to the next person. I was able to track it. They signed it, sent it. We were able to file it with my legal department. All that while I was on a mountain at 8,000 feet. So it really kind of addresses the needs of knowledge workers who aren't necessarily in an office environment, which is just the world today. So unlike Creative Cloud, where on the creative side, we sort of went all in, and we only make creative products available now as a subscription. Acrobat is also available as a license, because there's the whole thing between owning and renting. People look at subscription, they like the flexibility with subscription, they like the predictability with subscription, but some people still want to own something. And so it's all about choice for you guys. So if you choose membership model, fantastic. If you choose perpetual, we make that available as well. CCB has both products available. It's important to really look, I don't know, we have obviously a diverse crowd, but you guys are your companies probably have, anything as old as Acrobat 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's different paths. So you can't upgrade from an older version more than 2 versions back. So if you have 10 or 11, you can upgrade to DC with an upgrade price. But if you were older than Acrobat 9, or actually Acrobat 9 and older, you'd have to actually buy a new version. But it really makes it very easy to sort of, kind of stay connected with all your folks. And what's different a little bit about Acrobat than Creative is Creative, if you're a creative user, you're absolutely using Adobe products. It just is the case in, video, web, and design. You're using Adobe products. But you're not, it doesn't span across all departments within an organization. But Acrobat does. So like a creative department would use Acrobat, but so would the HR department, a legal department, sales. I'm a salesperson. I actually use Acrobat all the time. If you send out a sales quote, you know, a lot of people won't just send out a sales quote in Excel or however you would do it. You would want to put it in PDF and secure it so that when it gets to your, you know, your client, that it's you know, secure. So it's across really a whole organization. There's an opportunity for Acrobat across a whole organization. Same thing within certain market segments. Like for us, we have for creative and Acrobat, law enforcement is a great vertical for us. Legal is a great vertical for us. Real estate. I mean, there's like areas for Acrobat that this makes it. You think about realtors running around where they have to send contracts to you know, clients as they're on the go. Acrobat DC is the right solution. So if you own Creative Cloud for Teams and you were a member prior, it sounds like there are some people here, you actually have access to Acrobat DC now, because that's one of the benefits of being a member of Creative Cloud for Teams, is that you get the next version. So if you haven't already done it, make sure you go and check out DC, and then you also want to try to download some of the mobile apps for Acrobat as well, because it's just super cool. I mean, I'm passionate about it because I'm a user. I mean, I work for Adobe, and I'm passionate about it because it's my job, but I'm also a user, and I just, you know, had to, and it was like perfect timing because I went to Peru April 10th, and we released it April 7th, so I was able to really take advantage of using the benefits of Acrobat Document Cloud. There's lots more I could talk about, but does anyone have any questions for now? Because I didn't want it to be like slide crazy, where, you know, I'd rather this be engaging or more like roundtable format. So if you guys have any questions, I know like in people coming up to my booth, a lot of people are saying I have CS5 or CS6, and you know, I've been talking about the reasons to upgrade. But does anyone here have any, like, if you have it, what do you like about it? If anyone can share who has Creative Cloud for Teams now, some of your feedback, good or bad? Anyone?
And just kind of a question, is Acrobat DC going to be included into the whole Creative Cloud for Teams or individuals? I mean, is that part of the standard package thing?
Yeah, it comes as, yeah, it definitely comes in it, and if you have it, you get an upgrade to the newest version just by going up to the cloud. Right. If you were to buy Creative Cloud for Teams today, brand new, you'd get Acrobat DC in there.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use it. We're higher ed users, so we also have the other licensing platform, Enterprise. That's more of a desktop license.
ETLA, like an enterprise term license agreement.
Yeah. So we sit in that realm as well as kind of the named user side of it, and it's really allowed us to expand some flexibility with video editors who'll work in the office and do a bunch of work there, but then they'll go home and that night they'll need to do something, and they'll be able to log in on the computer and pop in something and take care of it because of that. So it's worked out well.
Yeah. And actually for you guys, like, let's say you were on a site over a weekend and you didn't have Creative Cloud Teams for one of your users, you can actually add it over the weekend, start using it, and then you pay for it after. So we sort of, it's not a trial program, but you have 30 days to add and then pay. Yeah. And so we make it really flexible because, you know, there are many times where someone's like, oh my God, I need the tools, and I can't wait until Monday where I have to place the order with CCB. They have to go to their source, blah, blah, blah. By the time you get the serial key, you might wait 72 hours or more. But with Creative Cloud for Teams, it's available right away. So once you have access to that console, you can add a seat immediately. And that's one of the biggest features.
Yeah.
How does it work if you're not on?
You have to check in once every 99 days. So if you have any way to log in, like you don't, because it's local, the only requirement is you check in once every 99 days as a named user. But for the most part, like, you know, we make new features available and, you know, like bugs and fixes available. We indicate that those are now available. You can choose to go up and get it or not. Each member also gets, on the Creative Cloud for Teams side, the complete 100 gigs of cloud storage, which again you can choose to use or not. And it can't be shared. Like if you had 6 users, it's not like 600 gig and one person can use 500. It's per user, 100 gigs per user. But that's a good question about the internet. We don't have we don't have offline deployment fully now on CCT. Like you have to have access to the internet. Yes.
And then with Document Cloud, I mean, the graphic up there is exactly what we experience, I think, with PDFs traveling and signatures. Does this then create a central cloud repository where our documents go and live between users? You know, and some of maybe the ownership things that come into play with one of our documents living in the cloud and licensing things.
Well, you have access to cloud storage, so you could actually store it, yes.
Store it, okay.
The one of the features that's really cool is what we call PDF portfolio. So, like, you know, oftentimes I'll get an email and it might have 7 attachments, like 7 PDFs, and then it gets confusing. You're just like, oh my god, which one did I open, which one I haven't, and then you have to toggle 7 times. But what you can do with Acrobat DC is create a portfolio. And so it comes over as one PDF, and when you open it up, it contains all the other PDFs, so it makes it really clear and concise. And you can actually sort of manipulate it, make a cover page, and make it very intuitive and friendly to the person receiving it. I know, like, students a lot of times will send their projects to their professor, be it, they might have an InDesign file, and they might have a PowerPoint, they might have a couple different projects, and they'll send, like, their own portfolio, which you can kind of brand to yourself, and they'll send that in a really clean, comprehensive way to their professor. So it's very, very, very cool. And then, of course, like creating forms, and that's another way of saving paper. So be able to kind of send out some forms and fill forms and send back and analyze that data. Like, you can dump it into Excel and analyze it. Yes.
And with the document cloud, or with the portfolio, if you're sending it to someone who's not part of the document cloud, how does that work?
They can open it with Reader. Yeah, that's what Reader's for, is like the ability to open up files. Yeah. Same thing with the sign and send for the contracts. Like, the other person doesn't have to have document cloud on the receiving end in order to sign the document. Good questions. Keep them coming. Anyone else have any questions? I mean, that's really what I wanted to talk about today, was Creative Cloud for Teams and Acrobat. I mean, Creative Cloud for Teams has been out for 3 years. We're like in our 3rd cycle of renewals. We make renewing very easy. CCB does a great job also of recommending renewals. But really, this Acrobat DC, I mean, it's been all over the media about mobility and just, kind of this disconnect, and really helping to solve that document disconnect. And, the other day I was doing a training, and it was Earth Day. And so I was saying, like, Earth Day, it's all about saving the earth, saving trees. And, really, this whole contract thing is just super cool. And it gives you really, sometimes, like, I would send a contract to someone. I don't know where they are, if they're at the office, if I'm waiting. And this, you kind of track it for organization and have visibility to where it is, and then just filing it with legal. So, it takes care of that. Yes?
Can you have multiple signers per document?
Yes, definitely. Set that up. Yeah. I thought you were going to say like multiple logins per user, because its name device is just for that person, so it doesn't act as a device. It acts for named user. To give you an idea on pricing, it's like, I think for the complete version of Creative Cloud for Teams, if you don't have a prior membership, it's like $840 a year, $69.99 a month. If you have a prior version, I think it's $49.99 a month, or $600, just to give you an idea. But a single app is like considerably less. But a lot of, we don't sell a lot of single app. Actually, in education, single app would be more for like faculty, staff. Same thing with Acrobat. We find, like, in education, the dean of students, community, like all types of departments within education would use Acrobat DC. Not so much in this program in particular for students and or institutions in terms of like device licensing, but more for departments within an institution that would have a need for, PDF document security. Yes.
You were talking about how the PDFs could all be, put together into one. Can that be used by, is there something for just at the student level, at the home level, to send into the professors and that?
Like, is there anything specific meant for students on that?
Or
not really. They create their own PDF portfolios and sort of their own branding. Like, I think we have some templates available that they can use. But that just seems to be one of the uses that has been, very popular, is to send in a portfolio, because it just looks really clean, you're sending it in. You had a question?
Yeah, we've looked at EchoSign as a possibility in the past. Does this in some ways replace the entry level of EchoSign
Yes, some of the features are integrated. That's exactly what the send and sign is, some integrated EchoSign features.
Okay.
Exactly. We bought a company called EchoSign, which competes like with, I believe, with like DocuSign and some other e-signing things. And so we've integrated some of those tools. We still sell EchoSign
Okay.
across enterprise. Like it's, you know, just richer, deeper, but like that's some of the tools that are integrated with Acrobat DC.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm going to be here for the rest of the day, so I welcome you guys to come up to our booth. We have some giveaways. I think we're actually raffling off a GoPro. So I know you guys, I've been seeing you guys go around and get scanned. I don't know if that's like the scanning thing is what it's about, but I will say like CCB, like their reps are incredibly educated on Creative Collaborative teams. They were actually one of our partners that came on board early, like kind of embraced this subscription model and really in the world of nonprofit, like really went, you know, stood behind us and has really helped to make this the standard. So I would say that if you have any questions, you know, the first step would be maybe get an invitation from your rep to participate in the program, and they would send you an invitation. And at that point, you can decide to add seats or not and kind of work with your rep. But that's sort of the first step, is to have the discussion. Then you can get an invitation to the program, and then at that point, you can start to add seats and really kind of use Acrobat and Creative Cloud for Teams. I mean, like I said, I work for the company, but I'm also a personal user, more so on the Acrobat side than I am on the creative side, just because of my role. And I love it. So I think you guys will too.